Today I will read the next chapter from A Life of Visions by Annada Thakur. In the midst of dark despair, I found a ray of hope in the words of the much esteemed Kaviraj. On my way back, I wondered if an idiot like me would secure a stipend. Then I recalled my mother's reassuring words, "My dear son," wrote she to me, "your fervent desire, I am sure, will never remain unfulfilled. Now you have decided to study Ayurveda, do it by all means. And in case Mahesh Bishwas and Rajkamal Bishwas withhold their help, do write in details to Police Inspector Rashik Babu, and I am sure he will not disappoint you. Even if he fails, God will come to your help. So you need not give up your resolve." I appeared at the scholarship examination relying entirely on the assurance of my mother. The examiner was the Venerable Kaviraj Taraprasanna Kaviratna. Through the grace of God and the blessings of my parents, I successfully competed in the scholarship examination and was accommodated in the upper story of the charitable dispensary of late Maharaja Digambar Mitra of Jhamapukur. It was the very building where the Ayurveda college was first started. My prestige remained intact. I had not to flatter anyone. But I should mention here that instead of drawing the scholarship, I arranged for free meals in the free boarding house of late Digambar Mitra. I had received a meager pocket expense from home for a short time, and later Police Inspector Sri Rashik Chandra Bishwas and Pleader Sri Brajamohan Bishwas of Chittagong helped me with small amounts for about a year. Ever since the college had been started, I was residing there, prosecuting my studies for 1 year and a half. Then I shifted to the house of the revered Kaviraj Sharat Chandra Shankhotirtha of Potoldanga and lived there for about a year. Once during my stay at the house of that Kaviraj, all my clothing etc. were stolen. This upset me very much, but as often as I fell in distress, I felt that I would then receive some special grace of God. For whenever I fell in danger, through the grace of God, I was blessed with unexpected happiness in the long run. Now trials came in quick succession. I had only one piece of cloth, so after a bath I would wash it, and only when it was dry I would put it on to go to the house of the Mitras for my midday meal. It was summer. One day, after I had finished my bath and had been drying the piece of cloth by tying one end of it to the outer window and holding the other end myself, a sannyasi came and stood in front of me. He was perspiring all over. His face had a parched look and his voice faint. Quickly I brought some sweets and a glass of water, which he gladly took. But he fixed his gaze upon my umbrella inside the room. The umbrella then was the sole prop for me, as it were. I used to rely on it in sun and shower while going from Potoldanga to Jhamapukur for my meals. When the sannyasi concentrated his gaze on it, I was filled with apprehension lest he should ask for it. Sannyasis have no sense of hesitation in asking for anything, for they are usually believers in the philosophy of Brahma, which sees eternal Brahma in everything and makes no distinction between mine and thine. I had not to ponder over this for long. Almost like a thought reader, he said, "My child, would you please lend me that umbrella for a day only? I shall return it tomorrow." Of course, our conversation was held in Hindi, and my impression was that the man was a Hindustani, that means upcountry man. I felt a bit assured that he would return the umbrella next day. Perhaps he had to go a long distance. I would rather use the wet towel to protect my head from the sun. Moreover, I did not see any sign of a possible shower. However, after exchanging a few words, when I was about to offer the umbrella to the sannyasi, the maid servant of the Kaviraj warned me, saying, "Dada Babu, they are all thieves. Should anyone trust and give them anything, you should not give him the umbrella." There was no other well-wisher of mine in the house to support her at that time. Kaviraj Mahasaya had gone home, and all of the students residing there. I was all alone. In the room opposite my own, there lived Nolini Babu, the Dewan of the Tigers and the manager of the then illustrious Zamindar Srijukta Brojendra Kishore Rai Chaudhuri. Unfortunately, he too was not at home at the time. So, no sooner had I lent him the umbrella without paying any heed to the warning of the maidservant than the sannyasi went his way slowly with it. A week had passed and there was no sign of the sannyasi coming this way. So I concluded that as a sannyasi could not run away with a trifling thing like an umbrella, he must have lost the way. As for myself, I was in great distress. For about a fortnight or so, I had only one piece of cloth, and to make matters worse, for want of an umbrella, I had often to go without meals sometimes. Arrangements for meals at the revered Kaviraj's house could not be brought about as my extreme shyness stood in the way of opening my lips for the purpose. In these circumstances, when one day I was taking my meals at the boarding house of the Mitras, I came across a student hailing from my native place, Girish Chandra Bhattacharya by name, looking at me intently, for which I asked him the reason. As he observed silence during meals, he let me know by signs that he would tell me the reason later on. Meals over, he asked me to meet him at his place for some urgent reason, and I agreed to do so. The next day, I will read the chapter in which the writer is introduced to a pious family, a young member of which, Sachin Bose, had renounced the world and was visiting holy places in the Himalayas. The writer's loss of clothes and umbrella miraculously compensated. Thank you all.